Before you answer the next casual, "How are you?" pause and run a quick mental experiment. It's early morning. You step out of your safe home and into the noise of the world. Your hand slips into your pocket and touches a heavy leather pouch. But inside aren't ordinary coins or paper bills. The pouch is filled with pure, unrefined, shimmering gold dust. This gold isn't something you could trade at a jeweler. Carl Jung would call it psychic energy or libido, your life force. It's the glow of health in your children's eyes, the calm in your home, the momentum in your work, the invisible current that keeps your body upright and your mind clear. And there you are, walking with this priceless treasure on you, heading to the elevator, stepping onto the street. Maybe you lock eyes with a neighbor at the bus stop, maybe a colleague in the office hallway, maybe an old acquaintance you didn't plan to meet. And most of the time, the other person isn't even aware of what they're doing. Out of pure social reflex, they ask the standard question, "What's new? How are you? How's everything going?" And without realizing it, almost like you've been hypnotized, you reach into your pocket, you pull out the pouch, and just to be polite, just so you don't look rude, you open it wide and pour handful after handful of gold dust at their feet. For a quick chat, for a smile, for good manners. You scatter your inner fuel into the air. Then evening arrives. You collapse at the kitchen table, drained. You can barely lift your arm. And you start trying to understand what happened. Why did that final deal fall apart? Why did you suddenly fight with your partner over nothing? Why did your patience with your child run out so fast? Why do you feel heavy, like something is sitting on your chest? You ask yourself, is this bad luck? A dark fate? A coincidence? No! My friend, this is not bad luck, and it's not random. Jung spent his life studying doors inside the human psyche and noticed a brutal pattern. The mouth is a gate, and if you swing that gate open for everyone, all the warmth leaks out, and the cold winds of the outside world rush in. Jung teaches that when we give the wrong answers to the wrong people at the wrong time, we hand our power away with our own hands. Today, through the lens of Jung's analytic psychology, I'm going to show you how to survive in a world of gossip, envy, and social masks. You'll see why intimacy with strangers can become the most expensive mistake you make. You'll recognize how the innocent-sounding "how's work" can hide a psychological trap. And using Jung's concept of the shadow, you'll learn, step by step, how to slip out of these traps and protect the prosperity in your life. But listen closely. The techniques I'm about to share are extremely effective. And still, if you carry the time bomb, I'll reveal at the very end, you can be the wisest person alive and still lose your strength. Without the final rule, the rest won't hold, so stay with me until the end. 1. The first line of defense, persona fog, the blurry numbers technique. Jung would call it the fog of the persona. In everyday life, we'll call it the blurry numbers technique. Rule: never, under any circumstances, give exact numbers to people who are not in your inner circle. Jung spoke about a dark impulse hiding in the collective unconscious, the impulse to compare. We live in a world where people love counting what others have. Someone asks, "How much did that car cost? How much is your rent? How much did your salary hit?" Don't be fooled. That person is not interested in math. They don't want to be your accountant. Their shadow wants coordinates. Where am I compared to you? Am I above you? Below you? This isn't data collection. It's a hunter weighing a target. Because the moment you say, I earn exactly 50 million, you hand them a key, straight into the bedroom of your psyche. You turn yourself into a target board. Here is how the mechanism works, through Jung's eyes. If your number is lower than they expected, they devalue you. Cheap. So it must be low quality. So maybe they're not that successful. Your joy gets poisoned by their silent contempt. If your number is higher than they expected, the shadow wakes up, envy. Where did they get that money? They must be stupid. I could have done better with that. And now their inner calculator turns on. From that moment, they start estimating how much they could borrow from you or why they don't have what you have, and they begin storing resentment like electricity. You build a tension line between you for no reason. The blurry numbers technique makes you invisible in this dangerous game. You don't give them a hook. There's a story from Jung's life, when he was working near his tower at Bollingen. A younger colleague notices a rare, expensive antique book on Jung's table and asks, eyes glowing, "Professor, this is extraordinary. You must have paid a fortune. Exactly how many francs did it cost?" He wants the number so he can judge it, dismiss it, or envy it. Jung takes a slow draw from his pipe, lets the smoke drift upward, and with that legendary ambiguous smile says, "I paid a price that was fair enough to match its value, yet reasonable enough that I wouldn't be ashamed placing it in my library." The young man freezes. Did he get an answer? Yes. He heard a sentence. Did he get a number? No. His mind can't buy the object inside itself. He can't decide whether to envy, admire, mock, or compete. He hangs in uncertainty, inside fog. And Jung later explains the psychology behind it. If you give them a number, they purchase the object in their mind and become partners in your ownership. If there is no number, it remains only yours. Let them wander in that fog. Your luck, your prosperity, your inner gold doesn't love accounting. 2. Success amortization, diffusing envy before it becomes a stone in your garden. Now the second technique, success amortization. Listen carefully, because this is the opposite of the modern show yourself, shine louder, be first culture. Since school we were taught, be successful, lift the trophy, let everyone clap. But nobody told us something crucial. The top of the podium is one of the loneliest places on earth, and it's also where you get hit by the most arrows. Success amortization is the art of catching envy in mid-air before it becomes a rock thrown into your life. In Jung's archetypal language, when people witness another person's success, they are forced to face their own shadow of inadequacy, often unconsciously. You get a promotion, you move into a new home, your child gets into a great school. You're happy, you want to share. People smile and say, "Congratulations," and Jung would say, "Don't only listen to words, watch micro-expressions. In the deepest part of their eyes, you may notice a split-second sting. Not because they are evil, because your light reminds them of their darkness. Your new title reminds them they've been stuck for years. Your bright home reminds them of damp walls and unpaid debts. A high-voltage current forms between you. In Anatolian wisdom, they call it nazar, the evil eye. Jung would call it psychic projection. Call it whatever you want. If you don't ground that electricity, it shocks you. Suddenly, someone trips you at work. Friends forget to call. Relatives reopen old conflicts. Your path gets heavier. So how do you ground it? Whenever you speak out loud about a win, you attach a small price tag of discomfort to the same sentence. You show the cost. You dim your brightness slightly, so it doesn't burn anyone's eyes. Human psychology is strange. People can forgive your wealth if they believe you paid for it with stress, sleepless nights, or sacrifice. They can forgive your talented child if they also hear your child is messy, difficult, exhausting, making you suffer sometimes. Because when they see you are wounded somewhere, their envy calms down. Inside they think, okay, they became a manager. But look, stress destroyed their stomach. I'll stay a regular employee and keep my health. Envy dissolves into mercy or harmless indifference. And that's exactly what we want. A silent protective shield around our happiness. Here's a story that captures it. Imagine a wealthy man in Zurich, new money. Let's call him Hans. Hans works his whole life and finally builds a lakeside mansion, for that era, almost a palace. Oak paneling, crystal chandeliers, the full dream. He wants to host a celebration dinner and invite everyone. Jung warns him, Hans, if you bring people into that house and parade them around saying, look at my floors, look at my chandeliers, that house will become your grave. Tomorrow the tax office will knock. The next day your staff will start gossip. The negative energy will rot the foundation. Hans panics. So what do I do? Invite no one. Jung says, invite them, but tell a story so that when they leave they say, poor Hans, what's suffering in that big house? Complain, Hans. Complain more than you ever have. Dinner night arrives. Guests scan the mansion with jealous eyes. The air is thick, sticky. You could cut it with a knife. Someone says, Hans, the living room is enormous. Incredible. Hans grabs his lower back and groans. Ah, don't ask. From the outside it looks beautiful, doesn't it? But ask me. Heating this place costs a fortune. In winter we sit here in coats, freezing. Cleaning is a nightmare. My wife's hands are ruined from dusting. And the echo. You feel lonely. Sometimes I think I should have stayed in my small old apartment. At least it was warm and intimate. Guests exchange looks. A small smile appears. They praise the garden. Hans jumps in. The garden? Moles destroyed everything. And because it's near the lake, mosquitoes eat us alive. Sitting outside in the evening is impossible. They drink your blood. Now watch what happens. The people who arrived grinding their teeth with envy leave patting Hans on the shoulder. Don't worry, Hans. Everything has a price. God help you. Big house, big trouble. They leave not jealous, but relieved, even grateful for their own lives. Our house is small, but at least it's easy to heat. Hans lives peacefully in that home because he grounded other people's projections with small, harmless problems. Remember, if you want your ship to move calmly across the ocean, don't raise every sail at once. Otherwise, the wind from other people's mouths will tip you over. 3. The Grey Rock Method, starving energy vampires without a fight. Third technique, the Grey Rock Method. In every life, there are energy vampires, not mystical, psychological. Jung observed that some people are addicted to emotional reactions because they're trying to fill an inner emptiness. It can be a constantly criticizing mother-in-law, a toxic narcissistic boss, a neighbor who feeds on chaos, or any person who can't feel alive unless you react. Their food is your emotion, your anger, your tears, your explanations, your excitement. It doesn't matter. Their goal is to knock you off balance, to pierce your persona armor and reach the soft part underneath. When someone says, "Why aren't you married yet? Did you gain weight?" They're not worried about your well-being. They want to see your face flush, your voice shake, your defenses crumble. If you argue, you lose. If you cry, you lose. If you try to explain logically, you lose twice. Because you handed them the key to your energy. The gray rock method is the art of being uninteresting. Picture a dusty gray stone on the side of the road. Do you want to kick it? No, your foot will hurt. Take it home? Why? Talk to it? Ridiculous. You pass by. That's your job with toxic people. Become boring, neutral, dry. Not silent, because silence can look like resentment, and resentment is still emotion. Just bland. They provoke you. You answer in gray tones. Maybe. That's your opinion. Could be. I see. They go for your most private nerve. You shrug. Yeah, that happens. They bite, but no blood comes out. Only dry sand. They bite once, twice, then realize they can't feed. They get bored and leave. It's hard. Inside you'll boil. You'll want to teach them a lesson. But trust the old Jung-like wisdom here. For a provocateur, the greatest punishment is your absolute indifference. Consider Layla's story. Layla was gentle, kind, almost angelic, but her mother-in-law embodied the devouring mother archetype. Not conversation, only commands. Every family dinner felt like an execution. The mother-in-law would shout, "This soup is water again. Do you not have money to feed your husband meat? Or are you just incompetent? And what is that dress? You look 10 years older." Layla would fall into the trap, eyes filling, trying to defend herself. "But I followed your recipe." And the mother-in-law would come alive, cheeks flushing, power returning, feeding on Layla's pain. Then one week, the mother-in-law strikes again. "I see you bought this cake from a bakery. A real woman bakes at home." The table goes silent. Everyone expects Layla to cry. Layla looks at her plate and with a flat, voicemail-like voice says, "Yes, mother. I bought it from a bakery." And she keeps eating. Shock. No reaction. The mother-in-law tries again. "My grandchild's grades dropped. You don't care about the child." Layla stares blankly. "Maybe. Sometimes grades drop." The mother-in-law escalates, raises her voice, opens old wars, throws insults. Layla stays gray. I understand. You could be right." After 20 minutes, the mother-in-law's face turns red, not from victory, but from exhaustion. The fuel is gone. For the first time in years, she falls silent, claims a headache, and retreats. Layla goes home that night energized, like a commander returning from battle. After that, the mother-in-law bothered her far less. Nobody wants to break their teeth on a stone. Remember, you are not obligated to be a supporting actor in someone else's drama. Close the emotional door and watch. 4. Returning praise. Compliments can be more dangerous than criticism. Now let's talk about praise. Sweet words, compliments. "You're so beautiful." "You're so smart." "You're amazing." In Jungian psychology, praise can sometimes be a more dangerous weapon than criticism. When criticism hits, you raise shields. But when praise comes, you relax. "Oh, they like me." And you lower the armor. That's when the shadow slips in. Under "your house is so wonderful" may hide, "why don't I have that?" Under "you and your husband look so happy" may hide the poison of their loneliness. They may not do it consciously, but unconscious envy often arrives wrapped like a gift. In Anatolian culture, they call it the evil eye. You accept the compliment, and the next day you're sick. So technique 4 is returning the praise, mirroring. You don't keep that loaded energy on your body. If you say, "Yes, I'm great," you inflate ego, and that makes you vulnerable. If you say, "No, I'm terrible," you enter a victim role, also vulnerable. Instead, you catch the ball and gently send it back to the sender. How? You shift the focus away from yourself and onto them. You frame the compliment as a reflection of their goodness. Here's a simple story. A stylish woman, Suna, always looks elegant, even at home. Her friend Nermin has a sweet tongue, but a jealous eye. Every time Nermin praises Suna, something goes wrong for Suna later. "Suna, your skin is like a baby's." Next day, breakout. Suna starts avoiding Nermin. Then Suna learns the technique. One day, they meet again. Nermin smiles like a hunter. "Ooh, Suna Hanım, what elegance! That silk scarf makes you look 20 years younger. You're glowing. Let the jealous ones explode." This time, Suna doesn't bow her head. She looks between Nermin's eyebrows, right at that third eye point, smiles warmly and says, "Ah, Nermin, your heart is so beautiful. Your eyes are so clean that you see beauty everywhere. People see the world the way they are inside. If I look radiant to you, it's your beautiful heart reflecting back. May God give you twice whatever you wish for me." Nermin freezes, because Suna held up a mirror. The hidden envy hits the mirror and returns to the sender, and Nermin can't object without exposing herself. She can't say, "No, my heart is ugly." From that day on, Nermin praises Suna less, because praise no longer feeds her shadow. Use this in your life. When someone says you're so smart, answer, "I'm growing because I'm surrounded by valuable people like you." When they say you're so beautiful, answer, "That's your kind way of seeing. Thank you." If their heart is clean, they'll feel happy. If their heart is dirty, they'll choke on their own dirt, and you stay clean and safe. 5. Closed mouth during illness. Vessel must be sealed. Now we arrive at the most valuable treasure, health. In Jung's alchemical work, there is a crucial principle. Vessel must be sealed. Healing, inner transformation, happens only inside a sealed container, without leaking to the outside. When you're ill, facing surgery, or your body gives an alarm, your psychological armor is punctured. It's like a fortress wall collapsing. Words and looks that normally bounce off you can now enter directly. What do most people do? They regress. They seek attention. They call everyone, "I'm so bad. The doctor said something suspicious. I might need surgery." This is self-sabotage. Why? First, pity. When people pity you, they don't necessarily give love. Pity is a heavy, sticky energy that locks you into the victim position. 10 people saying, "Oh, you poor thing, this looks bad," becomes a collective confirmation of sickness. It nails you to the bed. Second, the secret pleasure of enemies disguised as friends. When someone sees your weakness, part of their shadow may feel victory. Look at them. They seemed so strong. Now they're needy. Those negative thought forms slip into your open wound and slow recovery. So the rule is simple. When wounded, the animal retreats into the darkest den and makes no sound until it heals. It doesn't reveal its location. You should do the same. Let only your doctor and the person who brings you water know the real diagnosis. For everyone else, you're tired, you're resting, you're fine. There's a story about a strong man, let's call him Mehmet, who needed a heart surgery. Out of fear, he called everyone asking forgiveness. He posted goodbye messages. The whole village started talking about Mehmet's broken heart. The negative expectation cloud grew so dense that what could have been a simple surgery turned into complications. Then a wise physician told Mehmet's wife, "Stop the phone traffic. Tell no one. Say Mehmet is Turp gibi, strong as a radish. Tomorrow he's out. Lie if you must, but protect him." She cut the communication. The energy stopped flowing into him, and Mehmet recovered shockingly fast. Healing requires privacy. Don't invite third parties into the silent conversation between your body and your soul. When you're healed, then you can tell the story. But during the process, stay sealed. 6. Refusing without excuses. The royal favor. Now we come to the disease of people-pleasing, the curse of I can't say no. For people fused with the persona, I am a good person, this is the hardest lesson. Someone asks for money. Someone invites you somewhere you don't want to go. You say no, but you attach a huge because wagon. I can't because my mom is sick. I can't because my house is under renovation. Jung would say, the moment you explain, you lose power. When you offer excuses, you tell the other person, please validate my decision. You step down from judge to defendant, and excuses invite manipulation. Renovation? Okay, next week then. No car? I'll pick you up. Then you're forced to lie, and each lie erodes self-respect. This technique takes courage, but creates freedom. Hayır, tek başına tam bir cümledir. Nokta. No is a complete sentence. Period. A kind man, Musa, can't refuse anyone. He wants peace at his summer house, but relatives and neighbors constantly invite themselves. Every weekend he invents lies. The sewer exploded. There's a virus. The guests still come. Musa lives in his own home like a refugee. Then a friend teaches him Jung's principle. Stop making excuses. Say only, this weekend doesn't work for me. Musa panics. They'll be offended. It'll be shameful. The friend says, your peace is worth more than their entertainment. The phone rings. Musa, we've got the grill. We're coming. Musa inhales and says, Salami, this weekend it's not suitable for me to host you. Silence. The other side. Why? Are you sick? Musa sweats, but stays firm. No, I just have plans, and it's not suitable. The plan is to sit at home in pajamas. After a pause, okay, another time then. No excuse means no hole to enter. That weekend, for the first time in his life, Musa becomes the owner of his own home. So don't explain yourself. I don't want to. It doesn't work for me. No. This is your natural right. 7. The small stone in the shoe. When you can't hide your success, sometimes your success is too visible to hide. A new car sits outside. You lost weight dramatically. You were featured in the newspaper. Your light is obvious. This is the most dangerous moment because perfection triggers aggression in others. So you use the technique called the small stone in the shoe. You intentionally place a small flaw, a minor complaint, inside the perfect picture. So envy turns into relief, pity, or, well, at least I'm okay. Jung's principle of the union of opposites. If there's too much light, balance demands a little darkness. Example: you buy a luxurious historic apartment. People stare with admiration mixed with hate. Wow, some people really live. To break the energy, you say, yes, it's beautiful, but don't ask. Because it's a protected historic building, we can't even hammer a nail. The plumbing is old. Sometimes the water runs rusty. And downstairs there's a piano school. Noise all day. Sometimes I miss my quiet old place. You've shown you're not living in a flawless heaven. The listener relaxes. Their home is a palace, but their head hurts. My home is quiet. I'm okay. Envy fades, replaced by, may God give you patience. You give them a small bone so they stop trying to bite your whole life. That tiny stone can save your long walk. The final warning: the time bomb in your pocket, your phone and social media. Now the last rule, the most critical one. Because you can apply every technique above. Stay quiet, protect your energy, keep the gate closed. But if you are addicted to posting stories, everything collapses. In Jung's alchemy, there is another rule. If you open the container before the process is complete, the magic breaks. Modern people suffer from a disease. We share before we live. We lay a foundation, post it. We start a project, loading. We get engaged, flash the ring. A pregnancy test turns positive. Announce it to the world. There is an ancient law. Tohum karanlukta filislinir. The seed sprouts in darkness. If you plant a seed and 5 minutes later dig up the soil to check if it's growing, exposing it to the sun, the seed dies. When you share plans that are not yet rooted, not yet bearing fruit, you scatter the energy of that plan. Your brain receives likes and congratulations, releases dopamine, and begins to feel as if the goal has already been achieved, stealing the motivation required for real action. And you pull thousands of eyes toward you. Projections, envy, unconscious resistance, gus, the heavy gaze. So here is the rule. Show only what is finished, harvested, stored in the barn. The house is complete. You moved in. You lived there for a year. Then share the fireplace. The child is born and growing. Then share.